to do this problem, which is part of Leetcode daily challenge, string compression 3. So this problem, we have a word and we need to compress it using a specific algorithm. So basically we get the word like this, so a bunch of characters, and we need to compress it. And the algorithm we need to use is basically getting the maximum length prefix of repetitive characters up to 9, and then we count them and put the number followed by the number of characters. So for example, if it's just single A, we put 1A. Here it's more than 9, it's 9 plus 5. Since we can't go past 9, we put 9A first, and then we put the remaining, which is 5, and then we put A. Right? So that's how we are compressing the string from this big length to smaller length with enumerating the consecutive characters that are equal, but we can't. The additional constraint is that we go up to 9. If we reach 9, we stop counting, we put the A, and then we put the remaining next to it, right? So that's the idea. And we just create a new string with that represents the compression of that initial or original string, right? So that's what the algorithm does. Now, if you look at an example here, well, we don't have any consecutive equal characters, so we just put 1 for each. So 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E. That's what we get here. This one we have first 9 A's, so put 9A, and then 5 A's, and then 2 B's. So that's what we do here. The length of the list can be 2 to the power of 10 to the power of 5. So this tells you have to do some oven solution. So how do we do this? Well, this one is pretty easy. We can actually just do exactly the algorithm as it's written. It's going to be tricky first if you don't use something that makes it easy, like a Python group by. But it can still be done with indices. So I'll show you how with just indices, and we can go from there. Let's take this example since it's more interesting. So what we need to do is pretty simple. We just need to keep track of the streak we have so far, right? So and we need to keep track of the current character, so that if the next one, let's say when current is at this position A, when we go to B, we know that it's different. When it's different, we should add the streak to our final result, and then just streak 1, and the new character is B, right? So that's the idea. So basically, if we do that, then we start from here with current first equal to A, streak initially equal to 1. We'll keep going 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Each time we increment our streak, current didn't change, so it's still that one. Now when we reach 9, right, the next time we will say, okay, the streak is now bigger than 9, so we should add 9A. Okay, and then we reset. When we add to comp, we need to reset. Okay, so now it's equal to I, so we count again 2, 3, 4, 5 A's. And then when we go to B, now it's different. The current character is different. So the current character is different than A here. This one would be word I, by the way. So this would be the word. And this would be word I. The position, basically. So this is the position we are at. So we find that it's different. Now in that case, we need to add again. So 5 A's. This value here comes from current. And then now our current is B, and the streak is 1 because we just reset. And we keep going. Now we have the streak is 2. We are done. So at the end, we also need to add to comp, so that we take into account the last letter. And so 2B, right? You just take streak and B, and we concatenate it with current. So that's the idea, pretty straightforward, just one pass. And so to do that, what we said we need comp, we need streak, we need the current value, and we need just the length of the string. So empty first, string starts out at 1, the current start out as the first character, and n start out at the length of word. Okay. So with all of those, we can actually just simplify, put the rest on a new line like this. Okay. Now we need to go through the remaining characters one at a time, just like we did in the example. So it's going to be up to length of word. We want to start from 1 because we already assigned the first word. Okay. So now we need to check if the current is equal, if the current at position I is equal to current, that means we need to add to our string, right? That's like when we were here, we find A is equal to the previous one we had. And so in that case, what we want to do is we want to just increment our string. Okay, now here we also need it to be smaller than 9, because when we reach 9, we want to concatenate like here and start counting again for the next one. So now start counting again means basically string resets to 1. So this is either if they are different or if the string is bigger or is bigger than 9. So, and then current is going to be equal to this character where we are at. But we also need to add to our final string, right? So we want to add the string, which is in this case 9, plus the character, which in this case it's current, right? And that's pretty much it. Now at the end, when we get here, remember at the end we may not end up here. Okay, so either we ended up here, and now we need to add the last one that had a string of 1, which is word at position I, or we ended up here. In that case, we didn't add the previous string, right? So in both cases, we want to add. We want to do this basically. We want to add the last value that we didn't take into account yet. Then at the end, we just return comp. So let's run this and see if it passes. Looks like it does. Let's submit. And it gets accepted, okay? So this one, it's a little bit of error prone, I think, because we are using, especially this part here, needing to do this at the end. So one nice way we can do this instead of doing it this way is using group by. So group by will group consecutive characters together. The only thing we need to do is break when we reach 9 each time. That's the only additional thing we need to do. So to handle that, we don't need string anymore. We still need the final result, but we don't need this. So now in that case, what we will have is we need to return comp at the end. And then we need to go through, we just need to do group by for word. Okay, so the group by will give us a key, which is the character, and then a list. Let's call it a group. So let's just first print these so I can show you what these are. So this needs to convert to a list so we can see it. Okay, so you can see A, B, C, D. So each one of them, it puts it in a separate list. For this example, we have all of these in a list like this, and then these in a list. So it groups consecutive equal characters together. Okay, so now for each group, we just need to divide it so that we don't have more than 9. Like for example, here we need to go all the way up to 9, and then the rest put it together, which is 5, right? So to do that, well, we know if we had, let's say, maybe 20 A's, right? Now in that case, what should we do? Well, we should put 9A, so that's 18, and then 2A, right? So you can see here, how many 9 do we need to put? Well, we need to put 12 divided by 9. And then the rest is just the remainder, which is 12 modulo 9, 20 modulo 9, which will give you 2. So this will give you 2. So we need 2 9s and then this would give you the value too, so that's what we do here. Okay, so that's exactly what we need. To get that, we just need to do, we could call it multiplication, the multiple, which is going to be just the length of the list group, right, divided by 9. So let's call this value here group length. Let's call it length like this. Okay. Okay, so when we do, and then the remainder is going to be just this modulo 9. Okay, so we know we need to have 9a as many times as we have multiple here. So let's just do that. So this is going to be we just do comp plus, it's going to be 9, okay, multiplied by the character, which is C. Sorry, add, this needs to be a string. Okay, and then for the remainder, well, we just need to have that value for the remainder plus C. So that would be the case for 2 plus A. And that should be it. This needs to be the multiplier, actually. Looks like we have a problem here with this, because we need to do it only if there is a remainder. Like if the remainder is 0, that means we already used all of the 9s. So this is only if the remainder is bigger than 0. So we get the length here of the group, so the number of elements, and then we divide it by 9, and that's how many 9s we need to add, and then we get the remainder, and that's what we need to add. So this is the example I said earlier. If we need 9a, maybe 9a like this, and then the remainder maybe is, let's say, suppose it's 3, then we'll take this and we'll concatenate 3a. Let's say that's how many a's we have. So that's the idea pretty much. And then now we can just submit this and see if it passes. And it gets accepted. This group by is going to be linear in the length of word. So yeah, it passes the constraint. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I wanted to cover for today. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.